This 35-year-old man brutally murdered a 21-year-old college student, hid her lifeless body in a remote area, and then returned to the police with a lie that would later unravel his entire story. His name was Brandon Lavergne, a man with a disturbing criminal past. Lavergne was found in a pool of blood with stab wounds. When police asked him about his injuries, he claimed he had been attacked by an unknown man at a gas station. His story, though, filled with gaps and inconsistencies, seemed plausible at first. But as investigators dug deeper, it quickly became clear that Lavergne's injuries were far from the result of a random attack. Instead, they were the product of a brutal crime, and the victim had struggled with him before she passed away. The victim was Mickey Shunick, a bright and vibrant 21-year-old student at the University of Louisiana. Mickey had been last seen riding her bicycle home late on the night of May 19, 2012. What started as a simple bike ride home turned into a nightmare that would tear apart her family and an entire community. As the investigation unfolded, the truth emerged. Lavergne was not the victim of a random assault, but rather the perpetrator of a senseless murder. The story he tried to fabricate would ultimately lead to his arrest, but not before Mickey's body was found and the horrifying details of her death were brought to light. Before we continue, please subscribe. Who is Mickey Shunick? Mickey Shunick was a 21-year-old college student at the University of Louisiana, pursuing her studies in anthropology. Known for her bright personality and vibrant energy, Mickey was deeply passionate about her education and her love for the outdoors. She was the type of person who lit up any room she entered, and she was close to her family and friends. Her life was full of promise, with a bright future ahead, but tragically, that future would be cut short in an unimaginable way. On the evening of May 19, 2012, Mickey had spent time with friends enjoying a social gathering. She left around 2 a.m. after saying her goodbyes and began her ride home. Mickey's apartment was only a short distance away from her friend's place, so she decided to bike home alone. She had ridden her bicycle through the streets of Lafayette many times before. She was familiar with the route. It was a quiet, warm night, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. As she cycled down St. Landry Street, she passed familiar landmarks, streets she knew very well and felt safe on. But that night would turn out to be different. Mickey never made it back to her apartment. What started as a typical night soon became a nightmare for her family and the entire community. Mickey's family, friends, and neighbors began to worry when she didn't arrive home. Hours passed, and there was no word from her. As the day turned to night and still no sign of Mickey, the police were contacted, and a massive search began. The search for Mickey would span days, involving community members, volunteers, and law enforcement. But as the hours turned into days, hope began to fade. The community of Lafayette was shaken, as Mickey was well known in the area, and the thought that something could have happened to her was too much to bear. Mickey's disappearance sent shockwaves through Lafayette. The local community, which had always felt safe, was now in turmoil. Friends, family, and even strangers rallied together, helping to search for Mickey. Local media picked up the story, and her face was soon on posters and news broadcasts, with the words, "Missing," plastered everywhere. The sense of unity was strong, as the community joined forces in hopes of finding her. But the days dragged on, and the truth was about to come to light in the most devastating way. As investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the events of that night, they discovered the horrifying truth behind Mickey's disappearance. After Mickey's disappearance, investigators discovered that Lavergne had burned his truck in a remote area of San Jacinto County, Texas. He then reported the vehicle as stolen to his insurance company, later using the claim money to buy a nearly identical truck to avoid suspicion. The truck was a critical piece of evidence that eventually linked him to the crime. Lavergne also dumped Mickey's bicycle under a bridge near Whiskey Bay, where it was later found by investigators and became a crucial piece of evidence. By the time authorities recovered Mickey's body, it had been so severely decomposed that forensic scientists at Louisiana State University had to confirm her identity. The advanced state of decomposition made the investigation even more challenging and heartbreaking for her family, who had been waiting for days for answers. In an attempt to cover his tracks, Lavergne filed an insurance claim for his burned truck, claiming it was stolen. The money he received from the claim was used to purchase a new truck, identical to the one he used in the crime. This act of insurance fraud was just another step in his effort to conceal the truth. In the days that followed, police connected Lavergne to the crime through surveillance footage, witness tips, vehicle tracking, and the damaged bicycle. He was arrested on unrelated charges before being formally charged with first-degree murder and aggravated kidnapping in connection with Mickey's disappearance. You might ask, how do police get to know Lavergne was the one who actually killed Mickey, since he was not arrested in connection to the crime? The investigation into Mickey Shunick's death was meticulous, and while Brandon Lavergne wasn't immediately arrested for her murder, investigators were able to piece together the clues. 1. Witness testimonies and surveillance video. One of the key breaks in the case came when authorities reviewed surveillance footage from a nearby business. The video showed Brandon Lavergne's truck closely following Mickey on her bicycle that night. The footage was critical because it placed Lavergne in the vicinity of Mickey and indicated that he had been tailing her before she disappeared. Additionally, several witnesses reported seeing Lavergne in the area around the time of Mickey's disappearance. These testimonies raised suspicions that Lavergne might be connected to the case. The investigation into Mickey's disappearance took a major turn when a family member of Lavergne's fiancée came forward with a tip. The informant revealed details about Lavergne's actions, including his suspicious behavior and his attempt to cover up the crime. This crucial tip helped authorities focus on Lavergne as the primary suspect. Lavergne's sister played a role in attempting to cover up the crime, as she accompanied him to Texas while he disposed of the truck. She later admitted to investigators that Lavergne had asked her to help him bury evidence and mislead law enforcement about his whereabouts. Her testimony became key in connecting Lavergne to the murder. 2. Lavergne's own inconsistent story. After Mickey's disappearance, Lavergne walked into the police station, covered in blood, and claimed he had been attacked by an unknown assailant at a gas station. He explained his injuries by saying he had been the victim of a random attack. However, his story was inconsistent with the evidence and seemed suspicious. Investigators found no sign of the alleged attacker at the gas station, and Lavergne's injuries didn't match the kind of wounds one would expect from such an attack. The lack of other victims or witnesses at the scene made his claim seem less plausible. 3. Tracking Lavergne's vehicle. Once Lavergne was identified as a potential suspect, authorities tracked his vehicle's movements. They were able to connect his truck to Mickey's disappearance through the surveillance footage and witness accounts. Investigators also used cell phone records to pinpoint the locations where Lavergne had been. His movements were key to establishing that he had been near the area where Mickey was last seen, and near the place where her body was eventually found. 4. The discovery of Mickey's bicycle. A crucial piece of evidence came when Mickey's bicycle was discovered under a bridge near Whiskey Bay, several days after her disappearance. The bicycle had been thrown into the water, but its discovery helped confirm that Mickey had indeed been on the route Lavergne's truck had taken. The fact that Lavergne's truck was seen near the bridge where the bike was dumped further implicated him in the crime. 5. Lavergne's past and motive. While the community was focused on the tragic death of Mickey Shunick, it was later revealed that Lavergne was also responsible for another murder. In 1999, he had been involved in the death of Lisa Marie Pate. This earlier crime was brought to light when Lavergne confessed as part of a plea deal, linking him to a pattern of violence. Beyond his known conviction for aggravated oral sexual battery in the late 90s, Lavergne's record included failing to properly register as a sex offender. He had been released from prison in 2008 and was under strict legal obligations. His previous violent behavior made him a prime suspect in Mickey's case. 6. DNA evidence. DNA testing on Lavergne's truck and other pieces of evidence found during the investigation, including bloodstains and personal belongings found in the truck, helped tie him to the crime. This evidence confirmed that Mickey's blood was in his truck and that she had been involved in a struggle with him before her death. 7. Lavergne's arrest and confession. Once Lavergne was arrested, police were able to use their leverage over him. He was temporarily released from jail under strict supervision, and in exchange, he led officers to the location of Mickey's body. His cooperation with law enforcement revealed where he had discarded her remains, bringing some closure to the search. Once all the evidence was put together, Lavergne was arrested on August 15, 2012. After his arrest, Lavergne initially denied involvement in Mickey's murder, but he later led police to her body in Evangeline Parish, showing them the location where he had dumped her. It was after this discovery and further questioning that Lavergne admitted to abducting, assaulting, and murdering Mickey. In conclusion, Lavergne's connection to Mickey's death was established through a combination of surveillance footage, witness testimony, vehicle tracking, and DNA evidence. His suspicious behavior, inconsistent,